Greetings children. Today I have brought you a wonderful lesson. It is on reading comprehension. It is for classes 10 to 12 Cbse students. Reading comprehension. You have already solved several reading comprehension questions in your examinations. But now the pattern of questions are changed. They are based on PISA model. So what is this PISA and how can we solve such questions? That is what we are going to learn from this video lesson. So you should tune with me till the end of this video. It will be beneficial for you. Now let us check what is this reading comprehension or RC. Let us move. Now we are going to check reading comprehension based on PISA model. What is PISA? PISA is Program for International Student Assessment. A program for international student assessment. It is a flagship program of the OECD countries. What is this PISA? PISA is a triennial survey of 15-year-old students around the world that assesses the extent to which they have acquired key knowledge and skills essential for full participation in social and economic life. So it's a survey, triennial, once in 3 years, under ages of children under ages of 15. And in India, it is up to 17. Acquired knowledge and skills essential for participation in a social and economic life. PISA assessments do not just ascertain whether students near the end of their compulsory education can reproduce what they have learned. They also examine how well students can extrapolate from what they have learned and apply their knowledge in unfamiliar settings both in and outside of school. So PISA assessments are meant for measuring the ability of the student, not only of what they have learned from the school, but how students can extrapolate. Extrapolate here means to infer by extending non-information. This is extrapolate, to infer by extending non-information. That is extrapolate. The students, how students can extrapolate from what they have learned and apply their knowledge in unfamiliar settings, both in and outside school. So how fit children are to use their learned knowledge in unfamiliar situations. That is what PISA is going to test. What is reading comprehension or RC? Reading comprehension is the ability to read a text, process it, and understand its meaning. Simply we can say that a reading comprehension is 3 components. First, read the text. Second, process it. Then third, understand its meaning. These are the 3 elements contained in an RC. Why RC is important? To test the comprehensive and logical understanding of the text. The importance of RC comes with a child's understanding of the text, logical understanding. That is the importance. When we read a passage, there are so many information in it. And how can we come to a conclusion? Logically come to a conclusion after processing, after analyzing the given text. That is the importance of RC. The prerequisite for tackling an RC. How can we solve? And what are the prerequisites? The essential requirements for tackling an RC. First of all, reading speed, then your vocabulary. If you develop these two qualities, that is reading speed and vocabulary, you can easily solve this RC. Things to remember while solving an RC. First thing, don't assume anything of your own. That is the first rule. Don't assume anything of your own. Don't say anything of your own ideas. What is the passage? Give priority to it. What is the passage? Give priority to it. No chance for any personal interpretation or assumption. Then, no place for personal opinion. Remember that. Keep an open mind while comprehending the passage. You have to keep an open mind to comprehend the passage. Don't disturb your mind while reading and comprehending the text. Answers should be referred in the passage. Whatever answer that you are asked to give, it should be referred with the passage. Then how to read the passage? So, an RC should be read with full concentration and you don't miss any vital information. These two things you must remember. When you read an RC, read it with full concentration. Don't oscillate your mind here and there. Complete concentration is essential. And don't miss any vital information. Next thing we are going to check is how to answer the reading comprehension or RC. There are so many types of questions a reading passage will be followed. Some are direct, some are indirect, inferential, theme or tone based questions can be asked. How can these questions be solved? That is what we are going to check now. First, we can check the direct questions. The direct questions. The direct answers from the passage. If you can get the direct answers from the passage, such questions are called direct questions. Technique of solving direct questions. First, you have to read the question. Then underline or remember or write down keywords from the question and find the concerned part from the passage. No need to read the entire passage. For answering a direct question, first you go to the question. Then write down the keywords. Find the keywords from the passage and analyze that part and give the answer. This is the method of answering direct question. Then how to answer indirect, inferential or theme or tone based questions. Let us check. For indirect questions or inferential question or theme or tone based questions, we have to go through the entire passage. Then only we can catch the key idea there. We have to read the entire passage. Types of PISA questions. Nowadays, the reading comprehension contains questions like this. First, MCQ questions, and that is simple way of giving 4 answers and you have to choose one of them. Second is MCQ complex type. 3 or 4 statements will be given, and after that the answer keys of 1 to 4 will be given. You have to choose the right option after choosing the first given statements, after studying the first given statements. That is the complex type of MCQ. Then true or false. True or false, it can be asked based on certain data given in the passage. For that, you have to go through the passage very thoroughly. Then only you can find whether the statement is true or false, or not true or not false. For answering questions like this, you have to go through the passage. Then inferential questions. Inferential questions here means direct answer you can't find. You have to process the data. You have to analyze it, then infer the meaning. Then analytical or analysis. Some questions are based on only after you analyze the given passage, given data. That is analytical questions. Then tone or theme based questions. What is the tone of the passage, or what is the theme of the passage, or give a suitable title for the entire passage. To answer questions like this, you have to read the entire passage and find out what is the general tone, the general theme, or what is it about. That is very important. What is it about? That you have to find out. Then synonyms. For finding synonyms, the paragraph number will be given to you. You can locate the word. The easy method is you write the same word in the side of that paragraph and find out. Antonym is also in the same way, the opposite meaning. Then some explanatory questions. Some based on after reflection on the passage. You can't get any direct answer. Some explanatory questions you have to reflect on, you have to think, then you can answer it. Let us check some other type of questions. To distinguish fact or opinion type questions. Sometimes a question like this can be appeared. Whether it is a fact or an opinion in the passage. Your critical faculty is analyzed there. Then broad understanding question type. Whether you are able to understand broadly the passage. Students to focus on more than one part of the text. Broad understanding here means not locate at one paragraph or one sentence or two sentences. You have to focus on more or the entire passage. That is broad understanding questions. Then next type is identifying a contrast or similarity. For similarity, sometimes it is easy, but it is a challenging question. Identifying a contrastive statement, that also can be asked. Then next type is reflect and evaluate. This question requires students to hypothesis. Students assume or theorize about their likely personal response to the information in the text. You have to come to a theory, assumption, depend on your personal response and related it with the information given in the passage. That is also a challenging question. Reflect and evaluate type. Next is questions to identify the purpose of a specified part of the text. A specified part of the text will be given, will be taken, and you have to identify its purpose. Another question model is ability to interpret the descriptive phrase. Some phrase is taken from the passage and ask you to interpret the meaning. What is the meaning in the passage? These are the type of questions you can expect in the passage. How to solve? First things to do. First you have to read the passage and understand the theme. Then you start processing it. Data, information, infer the meaning. This is processing. When you collect the data or the information, or when you can infer meaning of the passage, it is called processing. Then memory. You have to keep in memory, or you have to write down the key ideas in your rough page, the key ideas of the passage. This is the first thing you have to do. The general pattern of an RC is every passage has a main idea. Don't forget it. Every passage has a main idea with supporting details. One paragraph is equivalent to one idea. Sometimes you can get passages like this. One paragraph is equivalent to one idea. Then you have to use the technique of read between lines. Specific data, facts, 1 to 3 questions can be asked. Inferences questions, that is derived meaning. You don't get direct answers from the passage. You have to derive the meaning. That is inferential questions. Questions like what does the author imply? What is suggested by the passage? What does the passage mean? Give a suitable title. What is the tone of the passage? All these question types are inferential types. You have to derive the meaning after reading the entire passage. A broad outlook of the passage is essential. Then you have to avoid certain things. Avoid extreme positions on an issue. For example, when you are given an MCQ, certain extreme positions the answers may contain. Like for understanding that extreme position, you have to find these keywords: always, or everyone, only, no, never, must, all, have to. This indicates your trap. Nobody can state a statement like always or every, only, no, never, must. All these are indications of your trap to choose the wrong answer. So avoid these extreme positions from the answer. Then blanket generalization of any issue or situation. Don't completely generalize an issue or a situation. These you have to avoid, especially when we choose MCQs. These are trapped type options. We have to avoid those answers. To understand these techniques very clearly, we have to solve one question. The next session of this video is going to solve one RC. It will help you to find out the correct options or correct answer, how to answer a reading comprehension passage. Now let us go and check that reading comprehension passage. Now let us check One sample passage of RC, Reading Comprehension. Directions, questions 1 to 12. Read the following passage to answer the given questions based on it. Urbanization is a positive phenomenon provided the cities are able to harness its potential. A recently published UN Habitat Global Report on Human Settlements shows that not many cities in developing countries such as India have managed to do this. Indian cities struggle to manage the swelling numbers. They tend to have inadequate infrastructure, poor mobility, and a lack of affordable housing. The challenge they face is twofold. Efforts to distribute growth across urban centers have been inadequate, and the urban planning practices are outdated. Now let us check the meaning of the first paragraph of this passage. It's about urbanization. It's a positive phenomenon provided on the basis the cities are able to harness its potential. The cities should have the ability to harness its potential. Harness means we usually use this word with the hose to control the hose. The same meaning is here. Cities are able to control its potential, harness its potential. Potential means the utmost capacity that must be taken in consideration. Actually, urbanization is a positive phenomenon on the basis of to harness its potential. A recently published UN Habitat Global Report on Human Settlements shows that this global report is done by UN Habitat. A recently published UN Habitat Global Report on Human Settlements shows that not many cities in developing countries such as India have managed to do this. The report shows that, whose report? UN Habitat Global Report. That shows that not many cities in developing countries such as India have managed to do this. They failed to do this harness. Indian cities struggled to manage the swelling numbers. Swelling means that is something that is increasing. The increasing number of population. Indian cities struggle to manage it. They tend to have inadequate infrastructure, poor mobility, and a lack of affordable housing. These three problems they face. First, inadequate infrastructure, then poor mobility within the city limit, and a lack of affordable housing. The challenge they face is twofold. Efforts to distribute growth across urban centers have been inadequate, and the urban planning practices are outdated. So these are the twofold. The challenge they face is twofold. The efforts to distribute growth across urban centers have been inadequate. First, the distribution of growth across the urban cities that remained inadequate. Second, the urban planning practices are outdated. The planning practiced by these cities, urban planners, are outdated. Look at the second paragraph. Much attention is paid to megacities, leaving the smaller cities largely unattended. This is one of the reasons for failure of urbanization in India. Paid much attention to megacities and left behind smaller cities. Of the 5,161 urban centers, only 1,500 have some form of plan to manage their growth. Out of around or more than 5,000 cities, only 1,500 have some plan to manage their growth. With quality of life suffering in the smaller cities, more people tend to move to the metros, burdening them further. Burdening them here means burdening the metros further. When quality of life started suffering in smaller cities, more people tend to move to the metros. That burden the metros further. Although the need for developing small and medium-sized towns was highlighted as early as 1988 by the first National Commission on Urbanization, not much has happened on that front. The need for developing small and medium-sized towns was highlighted in the year 1988 itself by the first National Commission on Urbanization, but nothing has happened on that front. As for bigger cities, the additional attention and the presence of a master plan have not necessarily meant improvement. Managing a city through a single unified master plan has failed to deliver. As for the bigger cities, the additional attention and the presence of a master plan have not necessarily meant improvement. The bigger cities got additional attention and the presence of master plan, but they have not been necessarily meant for an improvement in the metro cities. Managing a city through a single unified master plan has failed to deliver. Actually, managing a city through a single unified master plan has failed to deliver. Has failed to deliver here means has failed to discharge. The reason for this, aside from poor implementation, is that the plans are conceptually flawed. The reason for this is when two commas are separated a part of a sentence, it means something like a bracketed sentences and additional sentences. The sentence here means the reason for this is that the plans are conceptually flawed aside from poor implementation. So two reasons are there. Besides poor implementation, the main reason is those plans were conceptually flawed, defective plans. Conceptually means theoretically. The master plan was conceptually defective. Let us move on to the next paragraph. Come to the third paragraph. Indian cities are complex composites. Alongside the formal city exists a large and an equally important informal city inhabited by the poor. That's why Indian cities are said to be complex composites. There are two parts. Formal city exists and an informal city inhabited by the poor. Even the formal city is composed of many parts such as the historical core, the colonial enclave and new areas of post-independence growth. The formal city is composed of many parts like the historical core, the colonial and the post-independent growth. Notwithstanding these differences, the master plan tends to paint the city with a single brush, favoring the new formal areas and ignoring the informal. So notwithstanding these differences, notwithstanding here means nevertheless, these differences are there. The master plan tends to paint the city with a single brush, favoring the new formal areas and ignoring the informal. That is the drawback of the master plan, that it tend to paint the city with a single brush. Consider the city growth or urbanization in one perception. It gives weightage to the formal part of the city and completely ignored the informal portion of the city. This has fragmented cities further and skewed development in favor of new areas. So this has fragmented cities further. It again divided the cities further, skewed development in favor of new areas. And skewed development in favor of new areas. Skewed here means biased, one-sided development in favor of the new areas. The recommendations in the UN Habitat report do offer a way forward. So the recommendations in the UN Habitat report offer a way forward. The suggestion to implement the strategic spatial planning system should be immediately adopted. So the report suggesting to implement the strategic spatial planning system should be immediately adopted to solve this problem. Unlike the master plan, such innovations, so this is an innovative idea, the strategic spatial planning system recognize the intra-city difference better. This new system can recognize the intra-city difference better. Intra here means within the city. Intra-city difference better than, and help focus on priority aspect or areas. So this new system, new planning that recommended by the UN Habitat report, it is not like the master plan. Such innovations recognize the intra-city difference better. Intra-city difference within the city, the differences to the formal and informal parts, and help focus on priority aspect or areas. They should help eventually to mitigate the spatial inequalities. If we adopt this new strategic spatial planning system, they should help eventually to mitigate. Mitigate means to lessen, to come down spatial inequalities that is related with the space, the spatial inequalities in the cities, integrate infrastructure, and it can integrate the infrastructure facilities of a city and evolve compact city forms. A compact and altogether related, connected city forms that will optimize traveling within the city. Will optimize traveling. Optimize here means make more efficient. Make more efficient. That will optimize traveling within the city. Optimize means make more efficient. Traveling within the city will make more efficient. Simultaneously, the institutional framework for planning should be strengthened with an emphasis on people's participation and regional networking. Simultaneously, at the same time, the institutional framework for planning should be strengthened with an emphasis on people's participation and regional networking. Earnest implementation and regular monitoring of the plans are equally vital for reaping the benefits of planning. So, implementation and monitoring are two necessary things. Earnest implementation and regular monitoring of the plans are equally vital for reaping the benefits of planning. This is the passage. Now let us move on to the questions. Among the following statements, it is implied in the passage that which statement is taken from the passage that you have to find out. Look at the options here. Cities in India have not been able to reap the real benefits of urbanization due to lack of proper planning. Second, urbanization is not a desirable phenomenon. C. Urbanization offers the solution for all the problems that smaller cities face. Fourth option, none of the above. So which statement do you think that taken from the passage? Look at the first one. Cities in India have not been able to reap the real benefits of urbanization due to lack of proper planning. Come to the passage. Urbanization is a positive phenomenon provided the cities are able to harness its potential. A recently published UN Habitat Global Report on human settlement shows that not many cities in developing countries such as India have managed to do this. Not the cities in India have managed to do this. So, not managed to do this means lack of. Cities in India have not been able to reap the real benefits of urbanization due to lack of proper planning. Yes, this statement is there. Urbanization is not a desirable. Is it saying there? Not a desirable? No, so it is not there. Urbanization offers solution for all the problems that is small. Is it offers any solution? No. None of the above? No. So the answer for this is question. Option A. Come to the. So this type of question, this is not the direct question. You have to infer the meaning. A little bit you have to think about, then you will get the answer. This is second question. What, according to the author, are the main components of a formal city? The historical core, the colonial enclave and the newly developed areas. Second, pre-independence and post-independence areas. New city and old city. Planned city and the unplanned city. So this is a direct question. To find the answer for the direct question, you have to remember the question. The main components of a formal city. Components of a formal city. Now go to the passage. Indian cities are complex composites. Alongside the formal city exists a large and an equally important informal city inhabited by the poor. Even the formal city is composed of, look at that. The formal city is composed of many parts such as the historical core, the colonial enclave and new areas of post-independence growth. New areas. These three components. Now come back to the question. The historical, what are the components of a formal city? Historical core, colonial enclave and newly developed areas. Is there anything saying about pre-independence and post-independence areas? No. So this is not the answer. New city and old city? No. Planned city and unplanned? Nothing. So this is a direct question. You can choose this as the answer. Come to the third question. Which one or more of the following factors are recommended by the UN Habitat Report as essential for planned urbanization and growth? You have to find out the suggestions, recommendations from the UN Habitat Report. Look at the first statement. The master plan proposed by the first National Commission on Urbanization. The strategic spatial planning system. A strong institutional framework for planning, encouraging people's participation. So to get the correct options, we have to read or we have to remember the entire passage. The master plan proposed by the first National Commission on Urbanization. Is it in the UN Habitat Report? Nowhere. So this is not the answer. Check the second one. The strategic spatial planning system. This is what the UN report suggests. Look at the report. Look at this one. The recommendations in the UN Habitat report do offer a way forward. The suggestions to implement the strategic spatial planning. Strategic spatial planning. So that is there. Come back to the question. Strategic spatial planning, it is there. A strong institutional framework for planning, encouraging people's participation. Come to the passage once again. Look at that. Earnest implementation and regular monitoring of plans are equally vital. Integrate infrastructure and development compact. Simultaneously, the institutional framework for planning should be strengthened with an emphasis on people's participation. Look at this. People's participation and institutional framework for planning should be strengthened. This is also two other recommendations of the UN Habitat report. So we get the answer. This also answer. So 2 and 3. Where is 2 and 3? Only option B. 2 and 3. This is the correct answer. Now let us move on to the fourth question. The caption that aptly sums up the contents of this passage is, sometimes it is caption, or sometimes it is title, sometimes it is theme, or the implied meaning. Look at this. Challenges of urbanization, the strategic way forward. The phenomenon of urbanization, boon or bane. Urbanization, a monster out of control. None of the above. It is there. Urbanization, a monster out of control. Nowhere in the passage such a sentence is said. The phenomenon of urbanization, boon or bane. Nowhere it is said. Challenges of urbanization, the strategic way forward. What is the strategic way the passage suggests? The UN Habitat report. So A is the right answer. You have to analyze the passage, the entire passage, to get this answer. Come to the fifth question. Why has the master plan to manage a city failed? There are three options. This is a complex MCQ. The officers concerned did not respond to the government's directive. Is the passage says about any officers or their responsibility or irresponsibilities regarding government's directive? Nothing is given in the passage. The plans were not acted upon in a proper manner. That is the main reason for the failure. The plans were not acted upon in a proper manner. The plans did have mistakes in them. Yes, the plans have mistakes also. This is also true. Let us check that passage. Is that the plans are conceptually flawed. Conceptually flawed here means conceptually defective. Certain problems are there. So the answer for that is fifth is 2 and 3. Where is 2 and 3? B. Question B is the answer. Let us move on to the next question. Choose from the given choices the true statement or statements. First statement. Indian cities have sufficient infrastructural development but no control of population. Do you think that such a statement is given in the passage? Indian cities have sufficient infrastructure development but no control of population. Nowhere in the passage is given such a sentence. Second, lack of affordable house was the only problem with the Indian cities. Do you think that this is the only problem? This is the extreme. No, it is not the only problem. Yes, it is a problem, but it is not the only problem. Third, one reason for people moving to the metros was diminishing quality of life in smaller cities. Yes, this is given in the passage. The migration of people from smaller cities to metros is the diminishing quality of life. So 3 is one option. Look at the next option. Additional attention and the presence of a master plan haven't brought improvement. Additional attention and the presence of a master plan haven't brought improvement. Yes, this statement is there. Additional attention is given to the cities and a master plan is there, yet haven't brought any improvement. So statements 3 and 4 are true. Where is 3 and 4? Choice C. So C is the right answer. Now let us move on to the next question. This is explanatory type. Explanatory type question. What does the phrase paint the city with a single brush mean? To look at with one perception, from one angle only it is viewed. That is the master plan that gives importance to the formal part of the city, that is paint the city with a single brush. Now let us move on to the next 8th question. What suggestion did the passage give to boost travel in the city? They should help eventually to mitigate spatial inequalities, integrate infrastructure and evolve compact city forms that will optimize traveling within the city. Optimize means boost. Boost traveling within the city. What? They should help eventually to mitigate spatial inequalities, integrate infrastructure and evolve. How can we mitigate the spatial inequalities? By adopting strategic spatial planning. So, implementing strategic spatial planning, that is the answer. So, you can write the answer as implementing strategic spatial planning, we can boost travel in the city because it provides a compact development of the city. This is the answer. Now let us move on to the next question. Choose the word that is most similar in meaning. Harness, paragraph 1. Go to paragraph 1. Look at the word here. Harness. Urbanization is a positive phenomenon provided the cities are able to harness its potential. Harness means to control. Let us check the meanings there. Harness, similar meaning, which means synonym. To fasten, to plough, to control, to utilize. S, to control. This is the answer. Choose the word that is most similar in meaning. That is swelling, paragraph 1. Again go to paragraph 1. Swelling. Look at the word here, swelling. Indian cities struggle to manage the swelling numbers. Swelling means increasing numbers. Let us check the words and given options there. Increasing. Swelling means increasing, not getting worse, uncontrollable or decreasing. This is the answer A. Choose the word that is most opposite in meaning of deliver. Deliver in paragraph number 2. Go to paragraph number 2 here. With the quality of life suffering, and where is the word? Here. To deliver. To deliver means to discharge. Managing a city through a single unified master plan has failed it to deliver, failed it to discharge. Come to the options here. Deliver, opposite. To capture, to outform, to fail, to retain. Deliver, the opposite is to retain. Give and retain. So this is the right answer, opposite. So children, to solve the reading comprehension or RC, you have to practice reading and improve your vocabulary. This is the only shortcut to find the exact answer of reading comprehension. If you do more practice, you will become more perfect. You can score complete mark out of this comprehension passages. What is the difference is in objective types. If your answer is wrong, nobody can give you the mark. In descriptive, it is not that much problem. It depends on the teacher who check the answer. He can give the mark. But in selection or MCQs, you have to shoot the right option. So practice is the only way to improve it. Signing off. Goodbye, and I hope you will practice your lessons. Goodbye.